Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, because fortunately it is turning quite a bit warmer throughout the rest of this working week. For many in the south and the east, we could be seeing temperatures getting up towards the 20-degree range, especially through Wednesday to Friday, bringing a hint of early summer. But not only are we going to be seeing some warmth, we could even be seeing the first signs of some quite big thunderstorms potentially developing through Wednesday into Thursday, primarily for southern areas, but they could push northwards, and there is a lot of uncertainty with their intensity and their track, but there is some real interest, and I'll be definitely looking out to the Met Office warnings over the next couple of days, because there is a pretty decent risk that we could see our first yellow thunderstorm warning of the late spring summer period. Beyond that, it is looking likely to remain fairly warm actually. We have been looking at the ensembles over the past few days, and we've had a lot of scatter as we head into May. But today it's looking like the models are a lot more concise, with showing average to above average temperatures, which is definitely a plus considering the pretty cool last 2 or 3 weeks we have had. Unfortunately, though, it is looking like it will remain fairly unsettled. High pressure will be around, there will be drier, there will be warmer days, but we are likely to still see plenty of showers and, of course, maybe even some thunderstorms, as well as low pressure will never be too far away. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see we have got rain around at the moment, and this is as we are seeing a low pressure system sat out to our southwest. Now, this low pressure system isn't really going to push in, it's going to kind of just spiral where it is, potentially even pushing further southwards towards northern France, and as it does, it is going to pull some very warm air on its northern and eastern flank in from northern Europe, where it has been very warm the past few days, where they saw quite a big heat plume through the weekend, and now the remnants of that air mass will be heading our way, especially as we head into Wednesday, and where it collides with this low pressure system with the instability, that's where we see the thunderstorm risk. So yes, it looks like a lot of rain at the moment, but it's actually going to be very slow moving, and it really isn't going to push much further eastwards than it is at the moment. To the east of this precipitation and cloud has actually been a pretty decent day. Temperatures got up towards the mid to even high teens in places, where we saw some pretty decent sunshine. Quite a turn on what we saw through Saturday and Sunday, where it was pretty miserable indeed. Temperatures only in the high single digits at best, so almost a 10-degree temperature bump for some through today. Again, early signs of something a bit warmer, and it's only going to get better over the next few days in terms of temperatures. Just, it's unfortunate that we aren't going to be particularly dry. There is going to be quite a bit of rain around for some. Now, if you look at the temperatures this evening, you can see it is mildest in the east, and you can still see across northern Europe temperatures are mid to high teens, even maybe touching 20 degrees at 9 p.m. in the evening. So pretty warm indeed for this time of the year at this time of the day. And it's this air that is going to be wafting our way. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV, and we have to have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, you can see the rainfall moving in at the moment, very slow moving and not really making too much progress further eastwards than it already is through this evening. Maybe a bit of cloud and a bit of rain gets further eastwards, but it really does fizzle away, and that's because the low pressure system, the actual energy to the precipitation, is remaining further south and westwards. We see more heavy bouts of precipitation, maybe even some thundery rain there through early hours of Tuesday, but nothing too crazy, at least for most. Perhaps right along the coast, there does look like a bit of a squall feature developing there through Tuesday morning. Into the afternoon, that rain slowly pushing northwards and eastwards, but once again, it loses its intensity, and that's because we've got higher pressure building to our north and east, wafting in that warm air. You can see the wind direction starting to shift and the flow starting to change. You can actually start to see some showers or even some storms moving in from the east. They don't look too intense, but they do explode out of nowhere, so there is the risk they could be thunderstorms or pretty heavy, at least initially. As we head into Wednesday, those showers continue to pile up through the east coast, but for most, Wednesday is a warm, potentially quite muggy, but dry day. But you can start to see some rain starting to push up directly from the south for the 1st of May. And this is the first signs of some pretty heavy thunderstorms moving in from northern France. Now it looks like pretty much a classic elevated thunderstorm event where we see some big storms taking off over northern France, heading towards the UK. And the uncertainty we always have is how long they will last, because this isn't sort of conditions where it is massively conducive to thunderstorms across the UK. Perhaps we can support them, but it's unlikely to really trigger anything too major. It's where they get shipped in from France, a classic French import system. So you see them popping off across northern France and slowly heading northwards, but losing their intensity in many areas. But some could make it onshore, perhaps at that point losing the thunderstorm status, i.e. losing lightning, but we're still likely to see some very heavy precipitation from the remnants of those thunderstorms. So still massive uncertainty. We've got to keep a very close eye on it, but definitely the risk of something pretty severe through Wednesday into Thursday. As we progress through Thursday, those thunderstorms and remnants eventually dissipate away, and through Thursday it actually looks like a pretty decent day. Lots of sunshine around, maybe some thicker cloud in places, but fairly warm and muggy, feeling like a summer's day there. Into Friday, more showers and maybe even some storms, breaking out a bit of a line of storms potentially for eastern areas through Friday afternoon. And it's all because we've got warm air in place, but still quite a bit of instability, and it means that showers and more thunderstorms could pop off. There is even a risk there through Friday of some of the storms. It just doesn't look as likely. They could be very much pulse storms where they're not multi-celled and they're not, particularly complex systems, but could pop up nonetheless. It's that sort of pattern where lots of instability around and just need that trigger. We could see a few storms popping off at any time really through the second half of the week. And it's all due to the fact that we're seeing very warm air masses moving in. Again, it's not absolutely ridiculous, not record-breaking air masses, but very warm compared to what we've had recently, and quite a bit warmer than average. You see, still chilly at the moment, but those upper air temperatures are increasing. That's why today's feel-like temperatures have been quite a bit higher for many. We can eventually see, as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, warm air slowly wafting in from the east. And it's really through Wednesday evening when that warm air arrives, we start to see those first thunderstorm outbreaks. And then much Thursday into Friday and even into Saturday, we hold on to that above average air mass. Initially, it's very warm, 12-13 degrees, but we can't quite hold those upper air temperatures this time of year, instead dropping down more towards sort of 6 to 9 degrees, which is still above average and still would give temperatures around the 20-degree mark, or even low 20s, but just not quite as intense as the air mass through the prior days. Now, if you look at the max temperature, you can see this afternoon in the east, 16, 17 degrees, much warmer than it's been recently, but it's only going to be on the upwards trend. Into Tuesday afternoon, look at that temperature, 17 to 19 degrees, much better, but look at the west, much cooler, maybe only high single digits as we have cloud and rain in. So don't get me wrong, with cloud and rain, it still is going to be cold, but it just means whenever we do see some sunshine, it will feel much better. As we progress into Wednesday, again, very warm where we have the sunshine, 20, 21 degrees, and then into Thursday, once again, 20 to maybe 22 degrees after those thunderstorms in the morning. And then finally into Friday, again, another day where we could see 20 degrees, but more showers in the south, prohibiting those temperatures a little bit. So we're going to have to keep a real close eye on that midweek period, that Wednesday through to Thursday for storms, maybe even in the days subsequent, but not massive certainty with that yet. And of course, it is going to be pretty warm indeed. Now, if you look at the latest GFS and see what that has in store over the course of the next couple of weeks, you can see low pressure in place at the moment, and that's why we're seeing plenty of rain in the west. The low pressure never really goes too far through Wednesday and Thursday, and that's why we still see the risk of thunderstorms. But as I said, we're seeing a much warmer air mass wafting in from the east, especially on Wednesday into Thursday, allowing those storms to potentially take off. Beyond that, though, we don't really see a massive change. The air mass isn't quite as warm, but it's still looking around or above average. High pressure still looks to be sort of trying to control at least, but you see low pressure is never too far away, which means it's likely to have plenty of dry, warm days, but also wetter and more cooler days sprinkled in there as well. You can see that if we look at the accumulated precipitation, we are looking pretty wet across the next couple of weeks, even though most of the precipitation will only fall in a handful of events with areas of thunderstorms or longer spells of rain. it is going to be pretty intense in places. So yeah, definitely looking like we're going to have some really nice days over the next week or two, definitely later this week. But we are going to have some areas of rain and thunderstorms mingling within that. If you compare to the GM, it's very similar. Low pressure parked to our southwest with easterly winds bringing warm air, but also thunderstorms through this week. And then again, we see high pressure trying to hold on, but low pressure never too far away. So what's the GM at day 10 is probably the closest we get to something definitely warmer and drier, with high pressure firmly building over the top of us. See, precipitation isn't featuring at all, really. It's all kept out to our west, north and east, and you see the upper air temperatures are rising. Nothing amazingly warm at this stage, but temperatures getting up towards the 20-degree mark. So warmer and drier there in the longer range, but it is right at day 10. The reliable time frame up towards day 7, day 8, still looking warm but unsettled. If we do finish by looking at the latest ECMWF, very similar again. Low pressure parked out to our south, high pressure trying to build in, but low pressure never really letting it do so the next week. But similar towards day 10, high pressure having another go at building in. Still got low pressure out to our southwest, so that still could waft up a few thunderstorms. But also, with that low pressure out to our southwest, look where the wind direction is coming from. It's coming from the south or southwest. And what that means is warm or even hot air heading our way. Look at the 20-degree isotherm pushing into the Bay of Biscay. Now, if this did sort of sustain itself, we could be looking at mid to high 20s with this sort of scenario for early May. And you can see, look at the temperature deviation getting up towards 4 to 6 degrees above average initially, but could even see 6 to 12 degrees above average as we get into the following days. Uncertainty as it's out towards and beyond day 10, but nonetheless, still a very interesting pattern that could come off with this sort of scenario with high pressure generally dominating, but low pressure being very close by, allowing potentially these air masses to waft in. Now, if you look at the ensembles, you can see why I have said that we are looking warmer the next couple of weeks. Of course, yesterday and the days prior, we did have quite a few cold runs appearing in the ensembles, but those have reduced. I wouldn't say they've gone completely, so it's not completely ruled out, but definitely seen a big step change today towards more of a warmer pattern in the next couple of weeks. So most ensemble members are average to above average, not significantly above average, 2, 3, 4 degrees most of the time, but that still can produce temperatures around that 20-degree mark this time of year. Precipitation, at least in the next week to 10 days, is looking pretty high. Beyond that, definitely good signs that it could be turning drier, but as I continue to say, it's too far out to really say with any real confidence, and at that point we actually start to see some cold runs appearing, so we'll have to keep a good eye on that. But you can see later this week through Wednesday and Thursday quite a big spike there towards 10 degrees at 850 HPA, as we do see that warm air mass move in for a time, encouraging those thunderstorms. And you can see over the next couple of weeks, generally we're hovering around the mid to high teens, maybe getting towards 20 degrees some of the days. You can even see later this week, it looks like the ensemble members are underdoing it a bit. Again, the power of the sun can lift those temperatures by a couple of degrees more than the models show. So yeah, definitely looking at high teens or even low 20s over the next couple of weeks, but you can see lots of little up and downs. That's all variations depending on the wind direction and of course precipitation amounts. And if we finish by looking at the ECMWF, it's actually fairly similar. We're looking generally above average over the next couple of weeks. Again, good 2 or 3 degrees above average. Very high precipitation, though, unfortunately, in the next sort of few days. Again, giving a very strong signal that we are going to see lots of rain and potentially thunderstorms in the south. Drying signal in the longer term, but by no means bone dry at all. So still remaining fairly unsettled. So it is turning quite a bit more lively over the next week or so. Warmer weather is finally arriving. Of course, we have seen warmer conditions over the past couple of months, but really only sort of a little blast lasting 2 or 3 days. This looks like a bit more sustained, more like a week or two. And of course, this could be the point where we do generally actually start our ascent towards summer. We've had a bit of a hold on that ascent the last few weeks, but finally we are looking back towards average or above average. But of course, with those warmer conditions comes more moisture, more humidity, and the risk of further showers and even some thunderstorms. So kind of get the warmer, dry conditions at times, but also we have to, on the other hand, have those thunderstorms and those showers. So we'll have to see exactly how it does play out, but definitely Wednesday through to Thursday is an area of interest for the time being. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.